So hello there and welcome to another episode of Afterthoughts. My name is Wim Wintels and tonight I've recorded 4 etudes by Cramer, which might sound a bit strange since Cramer and certainly the etudes are in the literature more or less dedicated for piano practice and more connected maybe to the 19th century than to the 18th century. But as you know, Clementi, Cramer was a student of Clementi and he wrote, I think, about 80 etudes. And the reason why I played this music, I chose to play this music, 4 etudes, and we might do some more later, is the fact that I'm playing from an edition that was owned by Beethoven. The edition that came to us through history is found in the library of Schindler, who never published this, which is remarkable. And what's interesting as well, in this edition, which bundles 21 of the 84 etudes by Cramer, it are those etudes who are commented by Beethoven, written down in the handwriting of Schindler, signed by Beethoven, and the others are not. So that meaning that probably these quotes or these comments are more likely to be from Beethoven himself. Schindler must have been there in the room when Beethoven was teaching and just wrote these comments down, which is of course very interesting. There is a lot about Schindler that one should consider and should think about, but having said that, the remarks he makes about the playing of Beethoven, they are, to my feeling, very authentic. Some years ago, I bought his biography, Life of Beethoven, Schindler, in a very interesting edition. This is a translation made by Moscheles. Moscheles translates it into English. For those of you who don't know, are not familiar with Moscheles, Moscheles was a very famous pianist, actually one of the first great concert pianists who toured throughout complete Europe before Liszt, was one generation before Liszt. And he made a translation of this book, living in England, long time. And he comments actually on the biography that he's translating. So as an editor, he gives his own opinion, and that is very interesting. What I wanted to say with this biography is that Moscheles does not comment to the parts where Schindler is speaking about Beethoven's playing, and that's remarkable. So I have the feeling that what he writes could be rather correct, and it's way too interesting not to look at it. So let's do that. So I just played 4 of the etudes. They work great on the clavichord. It's early 19th century music, 1804. Not all of them, and obviously Beethoven played them, maybe later, but they work great on the clavichord. Most of them are written for 5 octaves. So in a very old style, so to say, technically speaking. It's clear that he was a student of Clementi. You see the same techniques, and it's very good to recognize that Beethoven used this as a kind of preparation for his own works. So we did Clementi last recording, now Cramer, that's a very important tradition. Not going to detail on the instrument, I want to share with you the comments that Beethoven wrote down, or Schindler wrote down in Beethoven's words. So the first one is this one, very famous. It's played, I think, in every piano class in a very mechanical, rhythmical way most of the time. Beethoven says the rhythm, and I translate directly from German, so I do my best for that. The rhythmical accent is the same on every beat. It's 4/4, so it's obvious. In solche Weise kommt in Tonleiter. Okay, so what he says, the accent should be very loud, very clear on the first note of the 4 16th notes, and in a way to be played, that you hold the first note until the last note of the group is being played, so that you really have this melody. And I don't know if you remember from one of the last episodes, we talk about that a lot, that you have a kind of polyphonic feeling within one melody just by accentuations and by holding notes longer than they're written down. So this is a clear example, and actually throughout all the etudes that Beethoven commented, it's all about accentuation. It's all about accentuation in function of the rhythmical clearness, so to say, of the piece, but also in function of the melodic aspect. So here, if you don't play it like that, it sounds very technical like. And also what happens is that you slowly start to play faster. I don't think that's the meaning. If you do it otherwise, it sounds like this. Ding, pop. So on every quarter note. Here. Another thing that's very difficult here is to play all notes very equal. I mean, on the same time, like this. You shouldn't hear differences. So that's the first one in C major. And the second one, E minor. That's the order in this edition. So they're taken out from the total edition. That's been made an edition later in the 19th century by Van Bulow, but he changes the order and he adds a lot of things in terms of fingering. He uses other metronome marks, and that's actually also interesting to compare, because for me that's a sign that these pieces are played much different in the 19th century, certainly by the students of Liszt. Maybe not by Liszt himself, but that's also something else. So here, in essence, he writes the same. He says again, the rhythmical accent is only first, and you should keep it, you should hold it, because that's the melody. Also in the left hand, which is not easy. So it sounds like this. This is added by me. Here it's difficult. So you go with your hand over a very large part, and this is very modern for that time, because the old technique is very closed, with closed fists, and Moscheles writes about that, and Beethoven also. There are some technical, at the beginning, some technical exercises from Beethoven with some remarks, and he says the closed hand is very important, that you have a position over the keyboard. But this changes, and of course that's the sign that the piano is coming, because once you open the hand, Clavichord is having a little bit more difficulties. So this is easier on the piano than on a Clavichord, but it works great. It's indicated presto, but what does presto mean? I mean, you can play it very fast, but you come inevitably into problems, because I think it's much more beautiful and much more with much more depth and much more expression when you have a tempo that's more human-like. Also here the preparation. It's not an easy jump there, and you should not forget that you have to jump, because otherwise you will be too late. So again here, accentuation and making clear the melody. The same thing in the third etude. Here he says, as this one. It's a little bit strange. He says the melody is in the third note of every group, which is kind of strange. I would say the melody is at the beginning. And further on he says the accent is on the first note very evenly, and the kind of legato feeling, the Bindung. Because of that you have to hold it as long as you can. So then you have a very nice melody with the left hand. And you can add to that the other notes in the 32 group. It's not easy though. Because also here your hand is getting bigger here. And you have to be careful here. It's difficult. And sometimes you can change the left hand, make the left hand more important. So you have actually three things here in this etude. Left hand, melody, right hand, and this counter accent, which is very clear here. I hold also the upper part, which makes it more difficult, but to my ear, more beautiful. But then comes the last one, which we did today. That's a really Alla Breve. I mean, a very old style. It's like a fugue of Bach. It's two voices, of course. It's not a fugue. It's a kind of indication of a fugue. But here Cramer shows that he masters the old technique, the old Baroque technique. Same thing as Beethoven writes is actually here. You have a long, heavy note, short. So again, indicating that you have heavy accents. It's an Alla Breve. It's really heavy. You think in half notes, one accent one big accent per bar. But you have this melody that really is important. So you shouldn't play it like this. Accentuate, of course, but hold the important notes longer. Actually, this is a very difficult piece, because you have two hands are sometimes doing the same thing or in the same direction, but if you look at this from the score, it doesn't look too complicated, but it's actually very tricky. Also because you have jumps that are difficult, like in the beginning, here, in the reprise. So you have jumps one octave more than an octave or less than an octave, left hand an octave or less than an octave. So you have to be careful. And here the hands are shifting. Here. it shows a difference. You have, of course, on an instrument like this, many palettes of color, and it's nice if you can use them. Okay, so also here, take your time, things like this. Okay, that was Cramer, 4 etudes, and we certainly will do more. We will have to do many things more, but these 20 etudes, or at least 12 or 16 of them, we will do later, so in bundles of 4. It's very nice music. I don't know all of the music of Cramer, but the music, the sonatas I've played, to my taste, not so interesting, and surprises me because wonders me because this music is really great music. So maybe I have to dive into his music more than I do today, but I didn't find next to these etudes music that really is appealing to me. So maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, and so I will try with pleasure other pieces. So that was it for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing as always and sharing this video with your friends. And next time we will do, I don't know yet what we will record. It's a surprise also to me. So thanks for watching again, and we see each other next time again. Bye.